Good evening, good afternoon, and most importantly, good morning, because we are doing a morning show. This is probably the first one. I believe this is the first one we've ever done in the morning, right?
Yeah, I think it's like the first one we ever done in the morning. We definitely done some super late at night, but
Yeah,
this is the first one I deal with you in the morning.
yeah, it's a little morning one, a little morning wood, with Dano, and that's not what it's called, but we're we're doing it. We usually yawn. If for those watching the video, the late night ones, I try and hide my yawn behind my microphone, which I know does not work because my face is larger than the microphone, but I try. No, so this is our little coffee cast we're doing this week. It's on cleverly titled Break Point, which later will make maybe a little more sense to some of you, and if it doesn't, well, maybe you'll just learn something today. But today we're doing Break Point, which
if
is
you
kind
were
of like Breaking
following,
Point. Huh?
yeah, I was gonna say, and for those who like has been following us on social media, we kind of hinted at it. Was about to come in like 20-30 minutes, maybe.
That's true. We did hint that. We gave a couple pictures, which to those of you that are pop culture fanatics like ourselves should have been dead giveaways. And for those that don't get it, well, you just probably saw two random pictures. But today it will make sense, hopefully. Um,
Hopefully.
yeah, well, we always try our best. But today it's mostly it's when did you reach your breaking point emotionally, and what happened? Our brief powwow, I know timeline wise, these are both pretty recent instances for us both.
Yeah.
So even though we're in really good spirits, man, it's been a couple challenging weeks.
Absolutely, man. You mind if I go first?
Go for it.
Yeah. So I mean, with the original breaking point, that really like opened our eyes and realized, oh shit, we need to go get some help. Like, I highly recommend you going back and listening to our first episode, which I believe is called "Welcome to Our Hell."
Yes, it is.
It's yeah. So I recommend going back, and that kind of explains it. And also throughout like different episodes, like we talk about our, we kind of elaborate a little bit more on stuff that we've been feeling and stuff like that. Like, dude, like Cooper, I'm not sure how many times I've told you this, but like the episode where you open up about your mom's last days and you being there, like, dude, that's fucking deep personal shit. So I always commend you and I admire you for sharing that and being brave to share that, so um unscripted. It was pretty raw. It wasn't
Yeah.
planned or anything. It was raw. So thank you for always sharing that, dude, and having that trust, to share with me.
Hell yeah,
But
man.
but yeah, you can always go back to listen to those episodes. With the most recent one, dude, honestly, has been like building up for like the past 2 or 3 weeks. Just completely stressed out with this new project I have. I'm launching at work for next school year, and again, same habits, same things that are going on. Like, I have this in back of my mind. Rather than chipping away at it like I should, I once I start thinking about it, start feeling overwhelmed, I kind of like, all right, I put it off. I put it off. So this past week, I was supposed to have my first meeting where I was leading this meeting um about like my actual, like, I'm supposed to lead it. I took it upon myself. No one fucking asked me to do this, but I took it upon myself to be like the fucking expert.
Right.
As in, like, I know exactly what's going on. So I remember the time leading to this meeting, it was like it's the imposter syndrome that we talked about, dude. Like, I'm like, nah, dude, it's not, I'm gonna mess this up. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. Like, they're gonna realize I'm a bad choice for this, blah blah blah. Just freaking out, man. And I can tell that, I was on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the whole, you know, like my anxiety, stress attacks started happening again, where like I feel sick, like I want to throw up, sick to my stomach, just so like drained, so unmotivated.
Yeah.
And like me wanting to quit something I haven't even started.
Yeah.
and this is like a really bad habit that I have, is like whenever I'm afraid that I'm not going to be successful or something, or I'm not going to be able to complete something, I quit. I give up, because in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather quit or give up and say, oh, well, I just didn't do it. And rather than say I tried my best and failed,
Yeah.
like, because then if that would happen, that was just, you know, it goes back to original, breaking points in our lives. That, that kind of, or not our original breaking point, but like the breaking points that led us to having these conversations and,
Mm-hmm.
led us to start this podcast, which again, if you ever want to listen to it, you can go back, or you can just, message us. So I'm more than happy to share, um, with that with anybody. But yeah,
Definitely.
that's been my most recent point, dude. Like, just being so nervous and so anxious, and like being sick to my stomach and lashing out and just being afraid. And luckily I had a conversation with my mentor a couple of minutes before that meeting,
Yeah.
or and he kind of like put me on. He's like, nah, dude, relax, you got this, blah blah blah. He's like, well, why do you feel that way? What are you afraid of? So I think after having a conversation, I was still stressed or nervous, but it was like the excited nervous. It wasn't. And once I
Right.
finished that meeting, and I led it and everything, I felt good. Like, it felt good. I felt accomplished, and it just gave me the confidence and the reassurance that, okay, you're good. You know what you're doing. You're
Yeah.
back at it.
It was just new. It
You
was just
know,
a new thing.
yeah, it's just not even new, because it's something I just haven't done in like 2 or 3 years. So
Oh,
it's just
okay.
like, all right,
Just
I'm like, all
rusty.
right, you're
You
back
were
at it.
anxious because you
Yeah,
were a little
exactly.
rusty. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And I wanted to show like the best representation of myself. So, with that, it's like, all right, we're back at it. We're good. Let's do this. And
Yeah. At
yeah,
least
now I
those
feel,
are good nerves, though. I mean, I know they don't feel that way, but at least it's
yeah,
yourself trying to game yourself up versus like trying to fuck yourself over more. We're just learning how to listen to that voice.
yeah. So like I felt both of those. I felt both of those like in the span of like 3 hours.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
at
lot.
first, the first one was, all morning leading up, and it was like nervous, but it wasn't like, all right, let's do this. It was like nervous, like, I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm gonna fuck this up. You're a fuck up. Again, the low voices in your head telling you how much your fuck up are, and you should just go and look for a different job or do something different.
Yeah.
And then, once I'm doing it or after, that's when I was like, all right, I got this. Like,
Hmm.
this is good. Um, so I just got to learn to not allow the one that's influenced me to fuck up and give up. Like, I should stop listening to that or focusing so much on that one, and just focus more on the, okay, you're nervous, but this is good nervous. You're excited, you're anxious, So I just need to learn how to balance that and listen to the good nervous rather than the evil nervous, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, what kind of has been helping me with that, at least with at work, is I get this like, I don't want to say it's arrogance, but I want to say it's confidence. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like arrogance for me at work because I'm not necessarily happy, which I'm going to
Yeah.
get into. But what I do is I just, in my head, I got a voice that says, well, let's just get this fucking thing done. Like, it ain't going to be perfect. It ain't going to look great, but we're going to try our best. And hopefully it does
Right.
look better than what we think it is, which so far we're anxiously freaking out. Like, because I'm the same way. I'm always
Mm-hmm.
worried it's going to be, am I coming in choppy? Or am I good?
A little bit, but your audio is still coming in good.
Okay, cool.
No, you're good.
All right, cool. I was just checking because it gave me that whole, your internet connection is unstable. Fuck you, Comcast. Oh, that was my breaking point. No,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
kidding.
I'm not.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not gonna lie.
Huh.
There you go. No, I'm not gonna lie. You're coming in like a 480 PI for those, or maybe it's not even PI no more.
Oh,
It's PI.
it's looking.
Whatever.
Oh, so I'm just looking like straight up terrible webcam from 1998.
No, more like 2004.
16 years ago. That's terrible. Oh man, I need to fix my shit, Danny.
Because I think in '98 we were still fucking with like the 56K dial-up,
Dude.
and it
Yeah,
wasn't until like the
56K
2000s
modem
we got
with
the DSL.
Yeah, fucking my old AOL
Dude.
disc ass.
Dude, and I was rocking the Net Zero because it was for free. For
Oh, I
30
remember
hours.
those. I remember Netscape.
Yeah, I remember Netscape. Hell yeah, dude.
Had some dinosaur
You
shit.
live off those shits.
All
With
right.
the US robotics modem and shit.
Oh my god, dude. I should be
No.
wearing a turtleneck with all the old shit I'm talking about right now.
Bro, I know we're getting off course on this one, but
Yeah.
if you really think about it, when we first got DSL, like in the early 2000s, like that thing was just like what 3 megabits, like
Dude, it wasn't shit.
Yeah, it was way faster than 56K for sure.
Like it was 128 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't that fast, and now
Yeah, now look at the technology we have, and my caveman ass is still struggling. So there
it
you go.
happens with me all the time, dude. So
I
there,
know.
you know what? But that's
Am I better now?
No, like the FBI
You're like, no.
catched onto us. They're like, oh shit, they're onto us. So like you're actually coming in way clearer now. You're at 1080 now, sir.
Well, I should be at 4 fucking K. No, I'm kidding. Zoom doesn't even broadcast that high. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy now. My internet's happy. The bill has been paid, guys. I may be cheap, but not that cheap.
You're frugal.
Mac frugal. And let's just jump into my problems here.
Let's hear them.
So about 2 weeks ago, I'm just dealing with work like always, and I've just, me and a few others have just kind of reached our point where there's just no fixing this. We're just gonna stay here until we don't, and then that's it. So I 2 weeks ago I was at work, and I showed up like, we had to do these stupid like inventory counts. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's funny. They say things are like regulated by the state. We need to do them. I'm like, but we haven't done them for a year and a half. So if that's even true, why didn't we just get audited all of last year and get shut down? Whatever, regardless,
Exactly.
right? Doesn't sound like, it sounds like bullshit, like things to just put on our plate. So I was just making the case constantly. I'm like, you keep adding stuff on the dispatcher's plate, because I'm like a manager / dispatcher. And I'm like, but you need to like add stuff to the drivers. Like the drivers have it too easy. Like they show up at 12, they leave at 8. We show up at 9, we pack things, we get things ready for them. Like we don't need to add more. Like we don't need to count their case. Like they should count that at the end of the night, like I used to do when I was a driver here. And my boss is always just like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't trust the drivers. I'm like, well, okay, so you don't trust half your workforce. That's another issue. Like, why are we hiring people that you don't trust and you can't confide in to do the job? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You're just going to overwork the people that are already being overworked because you don't want to work anyone else. Like, I'm like, first of all, I don't think it's a trust issue more than it's you being lazy and not wanting to delegate. So I this is all being internalized in my head. I go and we're running behind that day because I was 10 minutes late. Because of traffic and stuff. But I told them, by the way, like 30 minutes before I got there, I was going to be 10 minutes late. So you're late, but at least I'm like, yo, I'm going to be late. I'm not just like being an asshole.
Yeah. You gave them a 30-minute jump start rather than like a 5 minutes. Oh, I know I'm supposed to start in 5 minutes, but I'm going to be like 20 minutes late. You're like, no.
So I get there. We're running behind because we got to print these stupid fucking things out. So by the way, it's like, why don't you have them at least printed the night before? No. So we print it. We got to sit there, wait 10 minutes to print them out in the morning. So it's just 10 minutes of dead time because we can't do anything organizationally because we have to count what they did last night to make sure no one's stealing. And I'm like, yo, you have an inventory software program. Why are we doing all this manually if you're already paying someone to internally do it on the computer? And he said, because I don't trust the app. And I said, well, we should get a new app. Like we can't run a business. Like, why are you paying something that doesn't work and then you're paying us to do it? You're paying double now. So I'm like, I'm getting annoyed. From a business perspective, it makes zero sense as well. It's like, it's not even like about making money or saving money. You're just being an arrogant ass. So then I'm just getting irritated and like I'm letting it go. It's just bubbling up, right? So we're like in the morning, I'm like stressing out, and he like last minute everything. It's like, oh, last minute changes. We're already running behind, and it's like, and he doesn't really help out in the morning. He shows up, but he like doesn't help us. He like does his other job. So it's even more stressful because you're taking up space. You're not helping us. It's kind of insulting. Yeah. And then you complain that we're running behind schedule. So he mentions, he's like, I'm all, man, we're really running behind. I could really use some help, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's like, do you think we're running behind because you were late today? Oh, dude, I lost it on him. I fucking lost it on him. I turned around, and I know my voice because I don't know this until after, like probably about 2 seconds in. I knew then I was raising my voice. Like I was not happy.
Right.
I was like, excuse me? And he's all, do you I'm like, I knew he was baiting me. And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, first of all, yeah, me being 10 minutes late, that's weird because when I showed up, the forms still weren't printed. So, okay, those take 10 minutes. Why weren't they just starting to get printed when you guys got in here? So I got to do that too? So I'll show up late and then I got to do that as well. Even though I told you I was going to be late. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So I'm super pissed. I'm just saying that shit and like yelling. And he's like, no. And then I'm like, okay, look, I'm telling you, like, it's overwhelming. It's stupid. People don't like what's going on here, including myself. Like, we need to try harder at justifying why we do things and not just be like this because I said so crap. You know, I'm like, dude, you're not doing the work. It's like a waste of time. Yeah. And then he tells me, it's funny what he told me. He's like, he asked me a question that like, oh, it was so annoying. It was like, he's like, I'm like, so you're trying to say because I'm 10 minutes late, that those forms are going to be printed. And if I wasn't 10 minutes late, I wouldn't have to wait. Oh yeah, I said this. I'm all, so if I was on time, I wouldn't have to wait 10 minutes for those forms to get printed. And what would I do in those 10 minutes? Wouldn't I still be like sitting with my thumb up my ass? And he's just like, no. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. Like, I get that you're the owner of the company, but that doesn't mean you can just be delusional and expect me to agree with you. like, dude, I just went off, dude. And it's funny because whenever I go off on the owner, quote unquote owner, his wife, I think the real owner, she always comes through, talks to me about it. And basically we work out a system and we change shit. It's like, I didn't get in trouble for that. How many jobs can you like yell at your boss, not get fired? And it's like they actually took, then I wrote an email itemizing everything they don't do right and what we need to fix. The next day she came in with my email printed out and went over the list with me explaining what we're fixing. Yeah. And it was half of it was throwing him under the bus. And she sat with me in front of him and went over it. And I just looked him straight in the face. I didn't care. I'm like, good. Fix your fucking problems. Like, if it hurts your ego that I'm coming to you, you should at least be thankful that I care enough to help you fix things with your company rather than just up and quitting and not giving a shit. You know what I mean?
And at the end of the day, dude, like, you're in the front lines, if you will. Yeah. You're there. So you're seeing how effective this is. And, like, whenever you come up with a new system, I think that's the one thing that us as people in power, if that makes sense. Like, okay, I have some sort of power in my classroom when I'm teaching something. You have to be prepared and you have to check your ego and make changes. You know, if it's not working out, have that, check your ego and say, you know what, this isn't working out. How can I help? All right, dude, tell me what can you do? And at the end of the day, it is part of your job to tell the owner what is working and what's not. You're, as a manager, you're the connection between the workers and the admin, if you will. So you can, you're telling them in the way you're doing your jobs, like, hey boss, this is what's recording, but this is what's going on, this is what I'm reporting, this is how we can adjust it to make it more efficient. But again, your boss has, unfortunately sometimes, and we had this conversation where sometimes people just don't have that leadership don't have that leadership
quality.
Yeah, there you go. That's the word I was looking for. And not only that, but they don't have the skill of criticism, or they don't, and they think like, oh, I'm the boss, I'm paying, everybody should be like, oh, everybody should be a yes ma'am or yes
Yeah,
sir, but if you're so detached from what's going on, then you have to rely. So yeah, like saying, oh, I don't trust the drivers, get yourself new drivers.
exactly. Stop
Or
being in
like, oh,
charge
do
of
you have
hiring people.
yeah, or like, oh, I don't trust this person. Okay, well, which driver do you trust? Why don't you make that the driver supervisor? Don't give him so many, deliveries, and maybe, at the end of the day, that's his new responsibility. Like, check inventory. That's the one person you can count on.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and that's how it started
it's
with me. Like I was a driver. I got keys a
mm-hmm.
weekend because the original OG driver passed away.
Uh-huh.
I mean, no, so I'm like, I've done all this, and half the people I worked with before. So I'm like, this is a solution that can be done. So he tells me no, right?
Yeah.
And get this. Guess what the drivers do now at the end of the night?
What
They count it all and do it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Because she gets it, the other owner, and she even pulled me aside, and she's like, if you need anything, just email me, and we'll take care of it. And then it's worked.
Yeah.
Everything I've needed to do, I just don't deal with him anymore. But it's funny. The amount of ego that goes into these companies with these small businesses. And also, the funny thing also is that constantly was painted that it's his company when I don't think so, man. The way I've been dealing with things the last couple of weeks, I've learned I think it's her company. And good for her, because it's nice to know that there's someone in there that cares a little bit about an investment they're making instead of it just being like, seeming like, oh, here, I got all this money from someone to invest in something, and it's not really a loss if I don't do things properly. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But anyway, that was my recent annoyance.
No, and I mean, well, first off, as I tell my students, thank you for sharing that. I hear you, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. But like, yeah, dude, you have to, if it's like I've been saying this, and I heard myself saying this in the last episode also, like, dude, your oh god, I went blank. Your emotions and the way your mind, whatever you're feeling is valid. So you can, like, if it's eating you up, might as well spit it out.
Yeah. Shout out to Slipknot.
Yes, you got it. Yes.
Oh, it was a reference?
It was a reference.
Hell yeah.
But I wasn't gonna say Slipknot. Let me see if anybody else was gonna notice it. So hopefully, if you're listening to this and you knew that was a Slipknot reference before Coop says Slipknot, good for you.
Good for you, maggot.
Good for you, maggot.
Once again, if you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
By the way, random sidebar before we get into the fun, juicy stuff. It isn't all just about us getting pissed off.
Yeah.
I went back. I know that was a nice, long, dramatic pause, and it was because I had a brain fart, not for dramatic pause.
It happens. The coffee's still doing its job.
I was still trying to wait and see if that was going to still be a fart or something else. No, I'm kidding.
Another Slipknot reference.
What?
Oh, wait, no, it's not. Never mind.
What?
No, because you said wait and see, and I heard wait and bleed.
Yeah, that's getting deep now. We're stretching these references out.
Yeah.
No, but I went back because I kind of went on a Slipknot hiatus. The last record I really listened to, well, I listened to their new one, but I was a huge fan. Like the first record, Iowa, Volume 3 came out when I was in high school, but I kind of fell off on Volume 3 because I was such a metal snob, and when things started sounding a little different, I was hating. Really, Volume 3 is a great record, but I fell off from about 2005 to pretty much 2019. And to be fair, they didn't put out a record from 2014 until 2019, so they were kind of on a hiatus too. But I went back and listened to that All Hope Is Gone record from 2008, and holy shit, the one with Psychosocial on it.
Yeah,
that is a really good record. I wasn't like following them during that time frame, and holy shit, really good record. Really bad record from them. Point 5, The Gray Chapter. That one's a rough one. That one has
that's the one right after.
The Devil in
I was
Me,
gonna say that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Is
Sarcastrophe.
that the one? That's the one that they recorded once Joey with the current lineup now, right? When
Um,
Joey is no longer with them, and
I think that was the first one without Paul Gray, and maybe
okay,
Joey was out as well. I think he got
uh-huh.
kicked out. Paul Gray died. I think Chris was
Hmm.
kicked out as well. So,
I think, yeah,
because those three
or
aren't in
maybe
the band
Chris just
anymore.
got kicked out. Or maybe Chris got kicked out in the most recent
No, you're
one,
right. You're right. You're right. You're
or
right.
they
I
split.
think
Yeah.
I think he was on that one. So yeah, it was a
Oh,
different drummer and a different bass player on the
yeah,
Gray chapter. But it's
and
not a very fun one.
well, if you know anything about Slipknot, is that Paul Gray was like a big part of the production, producing songs and writing songs.
Yeah.
And he also worked with different bands, not just like heavy metal bands, but like pop punk bands and like rock bands and stuff like that. So which is kind of cool,
It's super cool.
But what I learned about Joey actually is that he had to quit not because he got fired, but like, well, the original from last thing I heard of because of some illness where he couldn't like. It was one of those things where it hurt him to play music like Slipknot, like on
Really
drums.
interesting. So I thought
Yeah.
I need to
So
check more
he
into it, but I thought it was drugs or alcohol because most of the band's sober now.
no, from what I yeah, and I think well, from what I originally thought, the only ones who always remained sober during the whole like even when they're freaking eight bowling and all this shit was always Joey Mick and the guy who does the samples.
Sid,
I might be wrong though.
the gas mask dude,
No, not Sid. He was
the
a
needle
Wilder, but
dude,
the other the guy with the spike
spikes.
guy.
I forgot
Yeah,
his
needle
name.
dude. There you go.
Needle dude, needle dick, needle
Yeah,
dick, needle dick.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that dude. I From what I understood, those were the three ones who were always like, more sober or more chill. Joey's like a big Christian, so surprisingly, which is
Well,
funny because
so is Dog the
he
Bounty
used
Hunter.
to.
I'm just kidding.
That's true. That's true. Um,
I'm just fucking
but
with
yeah,
you.
dude. I was reading where like, you gotta get right with God, bro.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
find God, bro.
Shouldn't run from the cops, man.
But like, you got to stop smoking that ice, bro.
Why'd you run? Yeah.
But like, apparently, like he did have like some injury where like he needed some time to like regroup. So they're like, all right, well, we're gonna move on with somebody else.
And now they have Max
That's from
Weinberg's. And
my
now,
perspective.
well, that's a better perspective. And like I said, I didn't do research, so let's go with what you said because it doesn't defame his character like with what I
Sure.
said. Um, by the way, Max Weinberg's son is now their drummer, so that's interesting. You knew that, right?
Yeah, and yes, I did.
Yeah.
He used to play for Rice Against, no, not Rice Against Me. There you go. He played
Oh,
drums
interesting.
for,
I think I saw
yeah,
them open
Against
for
Me,
Foo
and
Fighters.
yeah,
Yeah, I think they did it for like
um,
2008 or something. But yeah.
um, and then like Joy Davidson. It's not Joy Davidson. I'm freaking
Jordison.
missing him. Joy
Jord.
Jordison.
Yeah.
Wow. I had to look him up. My bad. I had to
You
look
live
it
in
up. But
Harley
yeah,
Davidson. You're still on
and even his
motorcycles.
story, of how Jay Weinberg became the new drummer of Slipknot is pretty interesting. Have you ever heard his interviews or something about how he like joined?
Briefly, but if you know it, go for it. Let's touch on it.
So he was with that one band, Against Me.
Which, by the way, is kind of a pop punk band, right?
Yeah, more punk rock kind of
Yeah.
style. And again, interesting story on that band. The lead singer is now identifies as a female. It's a transsexual female now.
Yeah.
Where when I first found out about the band, she was still a man. So in 2010, 2012, that's when she started transitioning into a woman, and and is changed the name and everything, but the attitude's still there. Like that whole punk rock attitude is still there, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome. So it sucks that people like fucking Caitlyn Jenner gets
Yeah.
all like, oh, she's so brave. But I'm like, dude, there was hella more people already doing this
Yeah, and
already.
is it brave when
Look
you have
at
hella money and resources to hide in your house if no one likes the way you look? Like, what about these people that got to go out and work at McDonald's that are
exactly.
transgender? You know what I mean? It's a little
Yeah,
different.
the people who have to go to like low income
Yeah,
housings and stuff. But
work a job with
I get
people that
it.
ridicule you more.
Uh, I'm not gonna hate on Caitlyn Jenner. She was and still is like an athlete, and so the whole much. She was also seen as like a ladies' man, like in the '80s and shit. So I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy. Again, I'm just speaking on my ass because I don't have that experience. Um, but yeah,
With the gold medal or
yeah. Anyways,
the sack getting tacked back.
what's up?
Said, what have you not experienced? The gold medal or the sack getting tapped back?
Both at the same time.
Good answer.
Both. I haven't experienced a box of Wheaties.
That's true. Your face hasn't been on a Wheaties box. We'll add that to the list.
I know. Soon, hopefully.
Are you married
Wheaties,
to
call us. Call us. We're ready. No, but okay. So Jay was playing this band. His manager calls him and it's like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm just chilling." It's like an off tour kind of thing.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, can you make it down to LA like in 2 days?" And he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Yeah, there's this opportunity. You have to come over here. I think you don't want to skip on this one." And that's all he knew. Like his manager told him, so he's like, "All right, well, fuck it. He's a manager. I'm gonna trust.
Yeah.
Trust him." Flies out of like Nashville or whatever he lives. Goes to LA. He has no idea how long he's gonna be there. Has no idea what's going on. Where the fuck he's staying. He shows up. Somebody picks him up in the airport. Takes him to some studio. Sees his manager. Blah blah blah. Kind of talking. Next thing you know, it fucking Sean Clown. Members of Slipknot come in.
Yeah.
And they're like, and he already knew him. Like he was friends with them. He knows him growing up.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" And next thing you know, I guess Clown goes, "All right, dude. Well, jump on drums. We want to hear you play some of these songs." And they made him play like a 30-minute Slipknot setup. He says he honestly did not practice for the songs. He didn't know. He literally got in there in the studio 15 minutes later. He's blasting through Slipknot songs, and he said it was all memory muscle. Also, it wasn't like he knew.
Dang.
He had no idea what was coming.
That's totally a rock star moment. They like didn't tell him because they wanted to find out if he was on point.
Exactly. I think that's what it was. Like,
hell yeah, because anyone could practice and get shit down, but like see exactly. How good you are on the fly, dude.
Yeah, like just let's see how. And I think that really testification. I don't know how to say it, but
testament.
No, it just really shows how Slipknot works. From like, all right, dude, we know you're a musician, but are you a fan of the music?
Yeah,
because Slipknot and the Maggots, they're all like one family,
Right.
So, so I think like, okay, let's see how much of a fan you are, because if we put you in here, the fans are gonna be like, who the fuck is this guy? They want to know like, oh, this guy's a real fan. He's a passionate,
not just like a session player, right?
Yeah, they want that passion to be known.
Well,
so yeah, he said he played like these songs, and next thing you know it, he fucking plays for Slipknot, one of his favorite bands.
A really good podcast is the Burt Cast with Burt Kreischer with Corey Taylor back in December.
Mm-hmm.
He really explains how they got together and that they were basically a super group in Iowa because Stone Sour was already a group. Sean had another group. They all had different groups, and Slipknot was kind of like a super group of guys that were already doing it. They were serious, and they just all broke out, like, because that's what they wanted to do. They're like, new metal was cool, but we wanted to do our own version of it and be a little heavier, and then bring some weird DJ and hip hop into it. And it's like, damn, dude,
and if
change the world.
And if even if you compare Slipknot to like Stone Sour, because Stone Sour did get their rise to fame like in the late 2000s.
Yeah,
two different completely genres of music.
Oh yeah, it's more like hard rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Stone Sour is like
Where
hard rock,
Slipknot is more like aggressive, if you will.
aggressive metal,
Yes, they're so angry.
Satan shit.
Why is he hitting a keg? That's what.
Just drink it. It's not how you drink it. Why are you hitting it?
Look, what is the guy with the spike doing? Like, what's his job?
Why is he wearing a dildo on his face?
Why do they have 3 drummers? Because it sounds badass.
Because it's tribal.
Yes.
Everything we do in this world.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, great story. All right,
good segue.
Okay, that's your PSA about Slipknot today.
That was your little fun fact. Now we're gonna dive into a little part of the topic. Geez, I butchered that. All right, let's try that again. Now we're gonna switch modes and we're gonna go into Point Break appreciation.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the episode this week is entitled Breaking Points or Break Point, like I said, because, you know, we originally came up with the idea to talk about Point Break, and I thought, well, as much as it's cool to do that episode, we might as well throw in a little, you know, relevance to what we're dealing with. So Breaking Points made sense. I've always been, we've always been, like, fascinated by crime, you know, and I've always been fascinated also by surf culture. So basically combining those two things to make this film, when I'm already, as we've established, a huge Patrick Swayze fan, I pretty much already just came in my pants.
Yeah. It's just a perfect melting or a perfect combination of the two things that you really love and adore.
Amazingly. Oh, speaking of another, an interesting thing here, because, you know, you always like to see, I always love seeing this when they talk about who could have been, right? Like who the movie studio originally wanted to go with, who the director originally, before they got fired, wanted to go with. This movie was in the works around 1986 to be made with someone else, because this was 1991, I think. And the main role, Johnny Utah, was played by Keanu Reeves, but originally it was supposed to be a few people that I thought was interesting. I'm going to go through the list real quick. Matthew Broderick. Ferris Bueller's Johnny Utah. Don't like it. Glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe. Definitely doesn't have the pretty boy thing, but could have been interesting.
He does have that surfer
because
mentality.
He was young Willem Dafoe. If you remember, this is around the same time as Platoon, Mississippi Burning. So young face Willem Dafoe, still creepy looking, but great actor. That could have been interesting. This next one, the next two, I think, are the most believable. Now, then you got Charlie Sheen and Val Kilmer.
Okay.
I could see either one of them working out.
I can see Val Kilmer more, because this is around the time he also did, you know,
the
Rise
Saint.
of Top Gun and
Top
stuff.
Gun,
and Johnny Depp. I mean, oh wait, I'm sorry. You said Johnny. You said Val Kilmer and Charlie Sheen.
Charlie
right?
Sheen, yeah.
So Val Kilmer definitely, you know, he has that. You know, he
kind of
has
a pretty
the
boy
Iceman character. Yeah. Charlie, I can see that. He definitely has like the rough around the edges look.
Yeah, and he had the hot boy of the 80s look still. He was still kind of it's just a little pre-major league. But yeah, so and then originally it was going to be who they were going to do, like you kind of mentioned, is Johnny Depp. And
I can see that.
The project was originally given to Tony Scott, I believe, and they were going to get. He wanted Johnny Depp. The thing just all went to shit, and the director, Bigelow, and I should know her first name. But another fun fact: she's married to James Cameron.
Oh, Terminator. Yes.
Which is also funny. Okay. We have some connections with Terminator we're going to bring up. Do you want to... What about Bodhi? What about... You want to offer some insight about the Bodhi character, Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, first off, if you guys haven't seen the movie, y'all need to like step up your game. And you have to watch the one from 1991. Do not watch the remake.
Not the
Please.
2015. It is trash.
Please. Do not watch anything. Any new movie that has been remade in the past 10 years, and there's an original one from the 80s or the 90s, do not do it. You know, do not watch. You know, like Karate, starting with the Karate Kid, Ghostbusters.
Yeah, nah.
The Thing.
Yeah, good example.
Yeah, just don't do it. Watch the original. Like, please do yourself a favor. Anyways, what I really like this about Patrick Swayze's character, he's a very zen-like character, a little bit of a cult leader, if you will. You know, if for those who haven't seen the movie or don't know about this movie, talks about a Johnny Utah. He's a young FBI agent. He gets assigned to his new assignment to crack down on the sting of bank robberies that are going around in SoCal.
Right.
They pinpoint that it might be some surfers. So in the journey of discovering who these bank robber gang is, he befriends a group of surfers, and I guess the leader of the surfer group or something is Patrick Swayze's character called Bodhi, which is short for, I cannot pronounce it. Coop, do you mind saying what it's short for?
Bodhisattva.
There you go.
Bodhisattva.
Which means wakefulness and is linked to the state of nirvana.
Not the band.
In this, not the band, not Dave Grohl, not
Kurt.
Wow, I'm going blank on the main Kirk. Wow, how can I know it's Kirk, but I want to say Kirk Angle.
I respect you so much more, Kurt Angle. Yeah.
Kurt Cobain. There you go. I'm like, why am I forgetting
Kurt Angle
like, the
Cobain?
most? Yeah, like I remember all the other 2 or 3 members of Nirvana except for like the main one.
You're all like Chris Novoselic.
Pat Smear.
You know them all, even the
David
eclectic
Grohl.
ones.
Yeah, touring guitarist, you know?
Keyboard woman,
backup dancer,
heroin spoon heater.
Imagine seeing the documentary.
Fuck. Oh, that was dark.
Hello, my name is Patrick Willis, and I am a professional spoon heater for Nirvana.
Patrick Willis. Oh, man, you took a dark turn, Patrick Willis. He used to be the linebacker for the 49ers. No.
I just made that one up also. Anyways.
Oh, that was great. These are all fun facts for the movie, by the way.
It is facts. Anyways, so he's like the leader of this, and dude, like his character Bodhi is kind of like borderline like Charles Manson, like I was telling you. Like he has this like group of friends, and his whole thing is like, oh, we're doing this not because we're bad people. We want to inspire the humans that the spirit still lives, and you don't have to be a slave to a 9 to 5 or a desk job. You can still do whatever that you want. So it's very like spiritual in that way, all about Mother Nature and like one with Earth, but it's very like cult leaderish because that's what kind of like what they do. Like they follow, you know, they have that endless summer, they're following the waves. So in the summertime they hang out in SoCal, they catch the waves there, they get money, and then they kind of just travel the world, you know, surfing.
Which is pretty fucking epic. Yeah,
it's pretty cool, but a very like zen-like, and like I said, like a very cultish kind of thing. And that's Patrick Swayze's kind of thing, character, one of the original anti-heroes I can think of.
Yeah. Thanks for giving us a brief synopsis of the movie, because that definitely helps. I kind of just jumped right in.
That's okay.
Something interesting I also picked up on was, if you notice in the film credits in the beginning, it says executive producer James Cameron. He originally wrote the screenplay with his wife, Bigelow, and for the sake of this, I should have her first name. Like, it's kind of fucked up that I didn't have that ready. But just pausing because Catherine Bigelow. So, directed by Catherine Bigelow, and James Cameron wrote the screenplay with her. And I heard, and from what I've read online, strongly wrote the screenplay. The problem is he wasn't credited because he got in a tiff with SAG, and the Screen Actors Guild decided to just not credit him as screenwriter or writer, which I don't see how you can legally do that if you actually did the work.
Right.
But
yeah,
let's save a Hollywood criticism for another episode or a whole year of Hollywood. I mean, Jesus, like there's not enough bullshit going on. So it's cool. This movie is technically, you could argue, is a James Cameron film. It's just crazy though that, like, once again, politics lead to someone not getting credit for what they're doing, and only Peter Liff is credited for the screenplay, which I think is kind of interesting. But no, dude, like, everyone loves James Cameron. I mean, he did Aliens, you know, he did Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Terminator, Titanic, Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
Dude, I mean, the guy's done everything. Sci-fi wise, it's like a wet dream, you know?
Yeah.
But I thought another cool thing that I thought was you mentioned The Doors earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think you intentionally mentioned it, but I thought that was cool because it went along with this. It says originally titled Johnny Utah. The movie was originally going to be titled just Johnny Utah, and then it went to be called Riders on the Storm. And I think they were actually even going to record a song, like covering it.
Yeah.
But then they just ditched the whole idea because they realized the lyrics to the song had nothing to do with the movie.
Right. But even then, like, just that title, The Riders on the Storm, like,
what does that mean? Right?
It's kind of, and also if you think about it, it kind of like foreshadowing how the movie ends.
True. But it's just too vaguely, like, random, right? It's like, it's like, yeah, it would have worked in the sake of, like, we have creative input to make whatever song we want to work on this film. But I agree. I'm like, it just doesn't have the same vibe. And it's like, and especially if you already have the movie written, there's no point in throwing a song in there to change how the feel if it does. You know, you want to find something that, like, goes with it. I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting, though.
Yeah.
Did you think? Did you notice the Dirty Dancing reference kind of in the movie when he introduces himself with Johnny Utah, the surfboard and all that?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, oh, cool, flames. I used to own a car like that, you know.
Yeah.
Referring to
he's all, I had a 57 Chevy. It looked just like it.
Yeah, and it's I was gonna say, and one thing about that movie also is that like, this is also when Keanu just finished doing, like, the Bill and Ted's.
Yeah.
So a lot of it, you can see some of the character. He kind of brings one of his character back. I kind of saw this when he's going around collecting, like, hair samples.
Oh yeah, Wild Stallions.
Yeah, so he kind of does, like, he does this, like, dude, don't move. But there's, like, and you can tell, like, it was like that character, just the way he talk and he act and everything. I'm like I think that was like a little nod, and I really appreciate that they went with a more realistic Johnny Utah than kind of like have that stereotypical Californian surfer lingo and acting like the old, like the airhead, like, you know, because it that would have been very cheesy.
Yeah, I mean just
the movie is cheesy already.
Yeah, like, but Matthew Broderick, just not a strong enough male character for me.
No. If he would have hit that surfboard, if he would have gone out there and tried to surf and, like, try to, you know, be cool with these people, you would have told this guy was a fucking narc.
Dude, I'd be like, take your soft ass office body and get the fuck out of here, dude. Go play hooky from school or something. Like,
he would have been.
Yeah, he'd get. He totally narc, dude. Out. Yeah, dude. Fuck that.
At least Johnny Utah has, like, he had the long hair. He had a more. he had the vibe,
Let's be real.
you know.
He had
And
sex
come on,
appeal.
you mean to tell me Matthew Broderick was a fucking quarterback?
Yeah, dude. No.
Come on,
No.
that dude's like 5'6" on a good day. I actually don't know how tall he is,
It doesn't matter.
but
I'll tell you this right now. Not a good quarterback. He ain't winning no
yeah,
Rose Bowl.
yeah.
Which, by the way,
Mm-mm.
Johnny Utah won a Rose Bowl for Ohio State. So that should
He
be
did.
also mentioned. I mean, that is a big deal.
And he did say that the only reason he didn't go pro is because his one of his feet went 90-degree the other way.
Yeah.
And that kind of ruined.
So his knee, I think he like totally messed up a tendon, probably in his knee, major tendon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
debilitating
Yeah.
ending to his college career that could have been a huge moment for him to go into the pros. But tell you this, he wouldn't have met Bodhisattva, right?
That's true.
The surfing aspect of the film is pretty interesting. When I found out about Patrick Swayze, more specifically, I was once again just like, man, this guy, I mean, just can you get a cooler dude, a more of a man's man, you know, just than Patrick Swayze? You know, just totally a team player, it seems, but like the fact that he did all the surfing like himself and with broken ribs during the movie, which by the way is crazy. Yeah. I loved reading that.
Yeah.
He was like super comfortable with the surfing, the skydiving. I read a thing on there that said he was like,
yeah, he did that all.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say like that's really cool of him. You know, like doing the surfing himself and doing all the stunts himself. Like that's pretty badass.
Hell yeah, dude! And did you see the Anthony Kiedis fun fact?
I saw that. No wonder
the training sessions.
He was just so horrible in that movie.
Do you want to go for that
Anthony
one?
Kiedis. Yeah, hell yeah. So Anthony Kiedis comes out in the movie. Comes out like within the first couple of minutes. He Johnny Utah's trying to surf and whatever, and there's this thing where like surfers are very territorial and they don't like outsiders or nobody riding their waves and shit.
Yeah.
So they pretty much an opposite surfer crew jumps Johnny Utah. And they're intimidating him, and then Anthony, Johnny Utah goes, "Oh, is this the part where you tell me, no outsiders and only locals and stuff like that?" And then Anthony Kiedis goes, "No, that would be too easy." And he gets punched. A fight breaks out, and Anthony Kiedis is the first one to go down. And the reason that happens is because while everybody was training for the fight scene, he wanted Catherine, the director, wanted the actors to do their own fight scenes and without stuntmen or stunt doubles and anything. Anthony Kiedis was the only one who missed that training. So this is why he gets thrown with the one hitter quitter.
Yep.
And then he kind of disappears during that fight.
And he turns into scar tissue.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I think around this time also, I mean, it could have been that he missed that training or that whatever because of tours with Red Hot Chili Peppers or whatever, or this is also the height of Anthony Kiedis like heroin addiction. So
yeah,
it might be also
he could have he was nodding,
doing his own thing. Yeah, so that sucks for Anthony Kiedis, but I mean, he was able to keep his part. He did make several lines in the movie. So it's just unfortunately he got his ass kicked.
And
you know what's funny?
What?
Okay, side note.
Yeah.
Side note. We said that Charlie Sheen was gonna be was wanted for this part as Johnny Utah.
Yeah.
But Anthony Kiedis and Charlie Sheen ended up working together in another movie.
Oh, that's right.
A couple years down the line. So that's a little fun fact. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, with Chrissy Swanson.
Yeah.
The Chase.
Yes. Yeah, great movie.
That is a good movie. Flea is
Great
also in
freaking
it.
movie.
They play
He is.
rednecks, right? They're trying to basically
Yeah,
hunt him down, trying to
yeah,
stop
they're
him.
gonna like they're gonna stop creating like a bigger thing, and everybody in the like the cops like, whoa, this guy's a professional.
Yeah.
Like
It's like,
when
no,
he
just a crazy redneck.
yeah, no, like what was it? Charlie Sheen. I forgot what Charlie Sheen does. He has like a gun, and he has it, and he hits a bump. He lets go of the shop, and it hits like a lock of a whatever's in front of him, like a trailer or like a truck, and like a bunch of dead bodies come piling outside, and the news reporter's like, "Whoa, what the fuck? What a shot!" Has to be a special forces sharpshooter, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, it's just a guy who has no plan,
Yeah, he got
who like,
lucky.
yeah, who got lucky and like kidnapped the governor's daughter by accident with a freaking Snicker bar or
Yeah,
something.
at a gas stop.
Uh,
That's a pretty
yeah.
good movie.
Oh, what a great movie! What a great movie. We'll talk about that movie someday in the future.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah. But yeah,
I think
that's Anthony Kiedis coming out in that film also.
I believe in demon. All right. And then that was Anthony Kiedis scatting. Thanks, Anthony. I wanted to mention some of the awards because I while looking this up, it said 1 win, 2 noms for MTV Movie and TV Awards of 1992. There's some interesting facts on there as well. You want to go through those, Danny?
Yeah, so again, the very prestige awards over here.
Yes.
The 1992 MTV Movie and TV Awards. So Keanu Reeves was nominated and won for most desirable male.
Ooh. See?
Very, very
Matthew Broderick ain't winning that one.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
And he beat his co-star, Patrick Swayze, who was also nominated for the same award. But I guess Keanu was just a little bit more hot at the time
he's kind of a young calf, if you will.
I think he was. Because, I mean, Patrick Swayze, by this time here, he did, Ghost, I think.
Yeah, he did. He was did already, Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Here he did Roadhouse.
No, I don't think he did Roadhouse yet. Oh, wait, did he? No, you're right. I think he did. No, wait. I think you're right. I think he did do Roadhouse. I think Roadhouse is 88.
I just assume. Yeah, I just assume all those movies were made in the 80s.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Maybe not Ghost, but it is now.
No, Ghost is 80s.
Now made in the 80s also.
I think everything you said was correct. Good. Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, I think Keanu was like, if you think about it, this might have been his first role in an action film.
I think it was. I remember reading that before. He only did like after school specials and like drama type stuff, acting wise.
Yeah.
So this was like his first breakthrough role.
And I'm pretty sure that this is why, like, the reason why he like went on to be like to do Speed, like in several years after.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this opened up blockbuster doors for him, and if it wasn't for Point Break, I don't think there'd be John Wick with Keanu. I mean, who knows if that's true? But I bet you it is. His line of work has spoke for him to give him the jobs that he has found, including, I mean, I wanted to mention this before we go into the next segment, but and it kind of ties in with James Cameron, and that's why I said it's interesting that James Cameron also directed a film around the same time that his wife did. And while helping her write Point Break, he also did another movie, but that was the one they also lost to because they also were nominated for Best Action Sequence. And I saw they didn't win, and I'm thinking, how the fuck can you lose a scene where you're skydiving and shooting and not... By the way, this is the second jump of the movie. This is the scene where Patrick Swayze, I believe... Nixon, I forget his real name, the guy who plays Nixon who shot, and Johnny Utah are on a plane. He's trying to rescue his girlfriend who's kind of being taken hostage as collateral. So they have peace of mind that Johnny Utah will let him go. So Johnny's kind of going along with the ride, doesn't know what to do. He doesn't have a packed chute. The two dudes take the money, Bodie and the other guy. They jump out of the plane. Johnny Utah, knowing at this point, he helped rob a bank. He's probably just completely going to get brought up on charges and put to jail. His only way out of this is to bring the guy in. So he jumps out of the plane with the gun. No parachute, just a gun. Links up with them, whatever. That's the scene. It's an insane scene. It's an amazing scene. It's great.
And if I can say just two things about that. Number one, this is the second jump he did on the same day.
Yeah. Chronologically.
The second one, the first one, he didn't know. Which is funny that these guys are like, John Utah never skydived before. Yeah, he's out here doing like figures and like breaking arms with everybody, holding arms with everybody.
Yeah.
Then the next one, he decides to jump off, no goggles. So dude's falling like 100+ miles per hour, no goggles.
You wouldn't see anything.
He can navigate. And what always drew me off is that they can always hear each other, even though there's hella wind.
Oh yeah,
they're like crystal clear.
Yeah, you probably can't hear anything.
Like, that's not. No, absolutely not. You have no idea. So, very, very ballsy move of Johnny Utah jumping without a parachute.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. That's like one of the most.
Way.
It's easily one of the most epic scenes of the movie, and I'm like, how did this not win Best Action Sequence? So I looked up what did win, and of course, James Cameron, Terminator 2: Judgment Day, the L.A. freeway scene, which was when they were down. That was the chase with the motorcycle and the semi truck with the T-1000.
Okay.
Now you remember that where
he
ducks down and the thing takes half the truck off, and then you think his head got ripped off, and his head pops back up. And they're in the canal. No. Basically, they're in the L.A. canal.
Yeah, and the L.A. River thing. Yeah, and because I was like, okay, well, what scene is? But that's so bad. That's because I always remember the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger character, like as he's going, he's like it's just how he
reloads the shotgun.
Like with one hand in the motorcycle. It's just a badass scene.
It looks so dope. That's one of the coolest scenes, and I'm like, okay, I agree. That makes sense.
I'm like, all right, I guess. Now here's some with some more 50 Shades of like of like movies and stuff. Did you know that okay, well, first off, do you remember who played the T-1000 model, whatever?
Yeah, Robert Patrick.
Okay, never mind then. Not a fun fact. Somebody told me some lies.
Can we hear the lies?
Somebody told me that the person who plays Death on Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure was the T-1000 in Terminator 2, and I'm like, nah, that can't be true.
No, I don't think so.
That can't be true. No, I just looked it up. It's not true.
That's similar to the whole rumor that's, remember people used to say the skinny dude with the glasses on Wonder Years was Marilyn Manson?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
And that was false, too.
That was
well, they tried.
I can see a connection. He was definitely one of the guys from Rocket Man, though. I definitely see, not the guy from the guy who played Death or the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted's.
He was one of the astronauts in Rocket Man.
Yeah, he was like the dickhead one.
Yeah, and you're talking about the Harlan Williams Rocket Man, not that piece of musical garbage. I love Elton John, but that movie sucked.
I'm not talking about the piece of shit masterpiece.
Yeah, that fucking art piece. Fuck you. If I want to watch Broadway, I'll watch Broadway, all right? Play some frickin' music. All right.
You know, I love Elton John, but god damn it, I'm just pissed at myself I couldn't see him with the in his like final tour.
Well, I got to see him in Vegas. And I'm glad I did that. Because it's just, I don't know. He's getting old.
I haven't seen his movie, so
Well,
That's
it's
one
just a
thing.
musical, and I'm not really into musicals. And I know people are like, "But he writes music." It's music and musicals are not the same fucking thing at all. At all.
No.
Like everyone loves music. Not everyone loves musicals. I'm sure there's a lot of people that do. That's great. That's okay. People also like taxidermy. That doesn't mean everyone else likes it. So,
No, another thing also is like not if you're a fan of musicals, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily gonna love all of them because I know people who love musicals and they hate fucking Grease, and I love Grease.
no, I got you. I grew up with some Grease. And you know what? Speaking of Grease, we're going to take a quick pause because we got to let out some Grease and take a little pee break. So we're going to do a little pause. Stand by. And we're back from the piss break. It's very important. Hydration's key. Everyone needs to drink a lot of water. We had some coffee. Like we said, it's a morning pod. Coffee is like fuel. It's gasoline. Without it, our carbon footprints would be much less.
Yes.
So we're moving on to QB Camp, which we creatively decided to call this segment just because both Johnny Utah was a college quarterback that turned FBI agent. The point of this segment is we are going to be comparing two Keanu Reeves movie characters that were both quarterbacks. Johnny Utah from the film Point Break was an Ohio State quarterback. Shane Falco from the film The Replacements was also an Ohio State quarterback. Both people played by Keanu Reeves. So
Yeah.
I'm going to touch on some light factoids about Johnny Utah, and me and Danny are kind of going to go back and forth. So Johnny Utah is interesting because the film takes place in 91. So and the film also says he's 25. So you can collectively figure out 2 to 3 years removed from college. If he played his fourth year, he's about 20, 21 years old. Okay, so he's 25. It's established in the film that he is a Rose Bowl champion. So they did win.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also established in the film that he gets an injured. He's injured. He injures his knee, which basically is a leg injury, but I believe it affected like the whole tendon, kind of like how an ACL or an MCL works. Hyperextension, crazy fracture, ruined his pro career. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't even finish the game.
Yeah, I think what it talks is that from what I remember when he brings it up is that it sidelined them for like a year, 2 years, and nobody wanted to like none of the pro clubs or pro teams wanted to wait for him, like no one wanted to invest on him for that time period. So he kind of like because of the injury, it he went into law rather than.
Didn't he also say that all that drama happened in the second quarter?
Yeah.
So that means like I said, he didn't finish the game. So that's the problem. I think also the thing that matters is your stats that won the game didn't win the game.
Yeah.
Because even if you're Tom Brady and you only play the first half, if they win that game, you can't give Tom Brady the MVP.
No.
Because someone had to play in that second half to win the game. So that
most likely
hurt his stats as well. Not only the injury, but just the fact that it wasn't him that, sealed the fate of that other team. I feel like, it's interesting, like Shane's character, because he did play in a college bowl game as well. Shane Falco, right?
Yeah, he played in maybe it is a real bowl. It's called the Sugar Bowl.
No, yeah, that's real.
Yeah, it's real. And he's also playing for Ohio State, which is for me is always confusing because Johnny Utah's last name is Utah, but he played for Ohio. I don't know. It's just come on. Can we just keep?
Oh, you think like they would, like he'd be like, no, it's geographically my name, so that's the school I'm going to. I'm gonna go to BYU.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But same thing, like a very promising career, and then but unlike Johnny Utah, where he kind of like got injured and sidelined him, Shane Falco got to his own head. He got to his own head. He got nervous. He couldn't rise to the occasion, if you will, or he just panicked, and they just got steamrolled. I believe in that game, they got steamrolled. They lost by like 40 something points.
Yeah.
So unlike Johnny Utah, who won the Rose Bowl, Shane Falco lost the Sugar Bowl, and he was always remembered for that. And as a consequence of him losing that, he also suffered several concussions in that game, and it pretty much just ended his pro career because nobody wanted to deal with him because he blew it when it really mattered.
Yeah, and it's funny too because
but after that, he kind of becomes like,
well, yeah, he becomes
oh
what?
my bad. No, I was just saying, and after that, unlike Johnny Utah, yeah, he becomes like, I don't know, he works like in the boat or something. He just
Yeah, the
like,
harbor.
yeah, he, like clean up the boats or cleans them or something, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he
So
definitely has a
he does
sadder.
that, which is kind of like a chill. It's kind of like a chill job.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of chill, but it's also like depressing, right? So you got like Johnny Utah who was able to go into law
Sure.
and like become an FBI agent, and then you got Shane Falco who lost a bowl game, and then that's the sad thing is when you have 3 concussions in a game. Granted, no one's going to want to necessarily draft you because
Right.
you didn't win, but at the same time, no one's drafting your lineman either. Because
True.
if you get 3 concussions, and that means you were probably hit 1,000,000 times in that game, no quarterback's going to win a game. So I also think, in a way, if you looked at stats, I wonder, and obviously you can't because neither of these games really happened, but I wonder,
That's
for the
true.
sake of my crazy ass, I wonder whose stats really were better in that game since Johnny Utah only played 2 quarters. And even if Shane got beat up, no, never mind. They were blown out by like 40 points. Shane didn't play a better game. But yeah, no, it's just like, it's funny when you see that. And one thing I will give Shane Falco over Johnny Utah is a character trait that I believe his is a little bit better than Johnny Utah's, where I kind of noted on here, Johnny Utah, if I was going to be like a talent manager or someone on a front office that was evaluating the talent we have on our roster, you know, and you're noticing like character traits, for Johnny Utah, I put hot-headed. And he is.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's kind of I won't say loose cannon, but he's hot-headed. When things don't always go his way, it's definitely not like a chill, typical Keanu Reeves. Whereas Shane Falco is a little more even-tempered and definitely seems like he has much more of a filter to deal with bullshit. Especially with the way in the film he handles the hazing. Never really gets pissed off, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
So I think if I was going to find someone that I would want to lead a team, I think I would still go Shane Falco. Just because it definitely seems like he's more about the team dynamic than himself. Johnny Utah, even throughout the film of Point Break, he was just trying to like make himself, you know, like he had a chip on his shoulder from his college career not working out, and he finally found his calling with the FBI, and he was doing good. And then what? And then what is he going to do?
Yeah. No, I feel like Johnny Utah is definitely more arrogant, if you will, in the sense that he wants to make a name for himself. He wants to win. He's still got the competitor nature in him.
Right.
You know, like for him, like surfing, finding who they were, like even in the movie where he's like, you know, chasing the characters, and he, you know, leads up to this crazy as, you know, he could easily let him go. He knows who they are. He he had to go and try and catch, you know, the person, you know, or get his man, if you will. But at this point, he resolved the case. He knew exactly what's going on, but he decided to like go on this chase, you know, creating hell of like property damage and hurting his knee. Where Shane Falco is kind of like, he's more grounded, he's more humbled. He was more humbled by the situation, and rather than like keep on bringing up his glory days or anything like that, he kind of just like keeps to himself. He's more like level-headed. So yeah, I feel like for a leader, I want more of a Shane Falco type of person, but if I'm a coach, I want the competitiveness of Johnny Utah.
I got you. Because he is a little more aggressive, kind of has that fire.
Yeah,
And maybe that's what you need
exactly.
to be that difference maker if you're down points, right? But then some interesting little side thing to add to Shane Falco. Hey, you know who was cool and even-tempered in hot situations? Joe Montana. That's why his name was Joe Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, man, you know, Brady may have all the awards and all the accolades right now because he is the greatest. But before that, it was Joe Montana. And that was his demeanor, you know, in those high energy, high-stakes situations. Joe Montana always came through and won the game. And it just was the coolest thing to watch. And I think that's very similar to his character in The Replacements.
I will take it up a notch and say the best 90s quarterback. Well, I guess not really because Tom Brady is present time. But let's not forget Dan Marino.
Oh, yeah.
Was the best one for simple fact that he came out in Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Laces out, dude.
Laces out, Dan.
You know, Ray Finkel really had it out for him.
Granted, I don't know shit about football, but I do know Dan Marino came out in Ace Ventura. And for me, he gets an MTV award.
Really great quarterback.
Best quarterback in the movie.
Never won a fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Probably one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game, though, Dan Marino. So it's not even just that he's in a cool movie. He really was a good player. It's just Miami just wasn't a good team at the time.
As a Dodger fan, like, no, I was gonna say, and as a Dodger fan, I kind of know how that is with like having Kershaw, an amazing pitcher, all these stats, but not having that ring. You know, it's always been kind of like a thing, also.
Yeah.
So he'll go down as a remembered, as a person in history, but of course, like, oh, well, he doesn't have the ring because it does matter at the end of the day, like championships and shit.
It does, man, but it doesn't always matter, you know, for the person. It just, you know, obviously the accolades, you know, your war room will look cooler with a bunch of trophies in it. But yeah, it doesn't mean you weren't a great athlete.
That's true.
It didn't try and elevate your team. Some players can't shine because they're helping others shine. You know what I mean? So, some of the best out there weren't hogging all the glory. You know. There was some funny. I just also think it's funny though that so far Keanu has played two quarterbacks from Ohio State that had careers just filter out, not work. So I don't know whether that's people writing him that way or it's him saying like, I really like this backstory. It's just funny. They love giving him this backstory in action films. So, and I'm cool with it too. Everyone loves the underdog story. I think it's funny, though. I found out some tricky timeline factoids that I'm going to go through that are just, I was stoned and I was just thinking, like, how could I find a way in a weird universe, even though their names aren't the same, to somehow, are they cousins? Are their characters related? And I was trying to find a way to connect the characters. So I did some weird research. Like we said earlier, the Replacements film set in year 2000, and that the 96 Sugar Bowl happened 4 years prior, so we figured out he's like 26 or 27. And since Johnny Utah is also 25, 26, and 91, 9 years prior, that means they're about the same age for the times that they're set in, but Johnny Utah would be about 8 or 9 years older. So obviously with the names being different, they're not brothers. But I thought, hey, you know, they could be cousins. But that, even if you think about it, that's still crazy to think in 10 years, two guys that were related played the same position and were in bowl games for those schools. So not completely out of the realm of possibility, but it's still a little like, okay, clearly this is someone who's stoned trying to connect things that don't need to be connected. This guy right here.
Yeah.
But, you know, either way, you know, the moral of the story is, you know, breaking points and letting steam out and letting people know how you're feeling prior to these, if at all possible. Sometimes, like you're saying, Danny, your situation, it was unavoidable. Something needed to get done, and you chose to be the person to do it. And
Yeah.
it's not easy when, one, you know, things might not get done properly, and it basically has to fall on your shoulders because you know it's going to be harder if you don't do it. So that's not fun stress, you know. And then with me as well, it's like I'm just trying to work and be the best I can, and I expect more from my company that pays me. You know, you should be setting us all up for success, right? Not failure. And
Not failure.
And I think we're both very passionate people that care a lot about what we do, and I think that's important, you know, and that's why we are the way we are. I'm just glad our breaking points weren't stories of us getting in bar fights, but with COVID protocols, it is hard to get in a bar fight.
Yeah. I mean, granted, there has been a bunch of fights already in sporting events, so everything's possible if you put your mind to it.
That's true.
Sure. That's all
mindset. It's all mindset. But thanks for tuning in this week, guys, you know, and don't forget, you know, this is the podcast that will always bring up your misery, but we always throw in a nice little dash of pop culture. And that's what we did this week. And hopefully we can keep doing this so it's not just doom and gloom. It's a little cheese. It's a little action. It's a little heavily buttered movie popcorn talk, you know, that just who doesn't like.
And that way you also know. What kind of shit we're into as well.
Yeah. Who the fuck we be, as they may say. Who they is, we don't know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I should just quote myself. But but with that being said, nice dramatic pause. But with that being said, guys, thanks for your ongoing support. Who's your Johnny Utah? Who's your Bodie in this case? You know, if you haven't seen the movie, please check out Point Break 1991. Also, please check out The Replacements 2000. Both great films. If you need a quick watch, I don't know why I said quick watch. If you need a good watch and just something to kind of like free the time and give you some 90s nostalgia with some cool action, give it a shot. You won't be disappointed.
Absolutely.
And thanks for keeping it real, guys, and tuning in. We will see you all next week. And thanks for everything, guys. Have a great week. Later.
Peace.